Good morning. Good morning. I'm live on YouTube and working on it on Facebook. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. My name is Tony Taylor, and I am here to share my devotion, pray with you, and share some gratitude. I'm glad to be here this morning. Today is Thursday, February the 11th. And I'm going to start us off with a prayer. Good morning, Kevin. So good to see you. Praying for you, Kevin. Oh, Lord, let my soul rise up to meet you as the day rises to meet the sun. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen. My eyes are fixed on you, my strength, for you, O God, are my stronghold. I'm going to read out of the Book of Common Prayer, a liturgy for ordinary radicals, for the psalm this morning. Good morning, Loney. I'm so glad you're here and praying for you. Good morning, Mom and Tracy and Pinehurst. I'm so glad you're here and I'm praying for you. The psalm this morning is Psalm 59, 11 through 14. My merciful God comes to meet me. God will let me look in triumph on my enemies. Slay them, O God, lest my people forget. Send them reeling by your might and put them down, O Lord, our shield. For the sins of their mouths, for the words on their lips, for the cursing and lies that they utter, let them be caught in their pride. Make an end of them in your wrath. Make an end of them, and they shall be no more. My eyes are fixed on you, my strength. For you, O God, are my stronghold. My eyes are fixed on you, my strength. For you, my God, are my stronghold. Good morning. I am so glad to see you this morning. Good morning. Good morning, Allison. I'm glad you're here and praying for you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Alan and Jean, I'm sorry. 97. Wow. Lord, in your mercy, we're lifting up the Wilkie family. Be with Alan in this loss at this time, with the whole family, Lord, as they grieve a loss of Mama Rochelle. Lord, be with them, comfort them, and wash your love over them. In your mercy, Lord, hear our prayers. Hear our prayers. I'm so sorry to hear that, Alan. So sorry to hear that. 97. Well, there's just nothing to say except I'm sorry. And it's going to be I'm just sorry. Praying for you. Good morning, Rhonda. I'm so glad you're here and praying for you. The procedure went well. That's a blessing. Lord, what a blessing. What a blessing we're lifting up with news from Rhonda for her mother-in-law. We are grateful. We are grateful. Good morning, Betty. I'm so glad you're here and praying for you. Praying for you. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with me this morning. My sister Susie went for surgery yesterday, and the doctor said she was doing well, and they didn't want to do the procedure. They're going to wait another week and see how she's healing. So we were just ecstatic. We were ecstatic with that. So they're going to schedule a procedure for next Thursday. And we're going to hope and pray that she doesn't have to have it, that her skin is healed enough that she doesn't have to have it. So that was exciting news yesterday. Today, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with me. I've got a frog in my throat. Today, we're going to be continuing in Genesis for the Old Testament and move into John for the New. And in Genesis, we're going to be on 29, 1 through 20. And this is where we were continuing yesterday with Jacob leaving to go to his father's clan, his mother's clan, to find a wife. And we're going to start 29, 1 through 20. Now, Jacob continued on his journey and came to the land of the eastern peoples. Then he saw a well in the open country with 3 flocks of sheep lying near it because the flocks were watered from that well. The stone over the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone away from the well's mouth and water the sheep. Then they would return the stone to its place over the mouth of the well. Jacob answered the shepherds. He asked the shepherds, "My brothers, where are you from?" "We're from Haran," they replied. Now, this was where Jacob was going. He said to them, "Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson?" "Yes, we know him," they answered. Then Jacob asked them, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," they said. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." "Look," he said, "the sun is high. It is not time for the flocks to be gathered. Water the sheep and take them back to pasture." I think he was trying to get rid of them. What do you think? "We can't," they said, "until all the flocks are gathered and the stone has been rolled away from the mouth of the well. Then we will water the sheep." While he was still talking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherd. When Jacob saw Rachel, daughter of his uncle Laban, and Laban's sheep, he went over and rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well and watered his uncle's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and began to weep out loud. He had told Rachel that he was a relative of her father and son of Rebekah, so she ran and told her father. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, he hurried to meet him. He embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his home, and there Jacob told him of all these things. And then Laban said to him, "You are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month, Laban said to him, "Just because you're a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older daughter was Leah, and the younger daughter was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. I'm not sure what that meant by weak eyes, if it literally meant like blind or if it was another term for something else. Jacob was in love with Rachel, and he said, "I will work for 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel." Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his great love for her. Now, this was, Jacob was in love with Rachel, but it was a custom for the oldest daughter to be married first. Now, Jacob is agreeing to work for his soon-to-be father-in-law for 7 years in order to have Rachel as his wife. So he really didn't have anything to give. Jacob didn't. So he worked for those years, 7 years for Laban. But Laban didn't tell him of the custom that the older daughter had to be married first. He kept that a secret. And tomorrow, I think we're going to be reading about that little trickery. I'm looking to see what prayer concerns are up there. Sue has to go back next Thursday for surgery. And if she's doing really well, they may do a modified version or, well, we don't know. But we were all surprised that she got to come home yesterday, come back. She didn't have to stay for surgery. So that was good. So if she keeps doing what she's doing, maybe she won't have to have much done next Thursday or nothing at all. That would be our prayer. But she will be, she's staying up there. So she's been away from her home for a long time now. And she's determined to remain positive. She doesn't want any negative thoughts or feelings in her. She wants to remain positive about everything. And I just don't know how much to thank you for your prayers for her. I'm most grateful. In John, we're doing 16 through 33. And yesterday we were in this with listening to Jesus talk to his disciples. He was teaching about the Holy Spirit. And Jesus is going to teach today about prayer. Jesus went on to say, "In a little while, you will see me no more. And then after a little while, you will see me. In a little while, you will see me no more. And then in a little while, you will see me." Now, that would be very confusing to hear. And at this, some of his disciples said to one another, "What does he mean by saying, 'In a little while, you will see me no more, and then after a little while, you will see me'? And because I'm going to the Father?" They kept asking, "What does he mean by a little while? We don't understand what he's saying." Jesus saw that they wanted to ask him about this, so he said to them, "Are you asking one another what I meant when I said, 'In a little while you will see me no more, and then after a little while you will see me'? Very truly I tell you, you will weep and mourn while the world rejoices. You will grieve, but your grief will turn to joy. A woman giving birth to a child has pain because her time has come. But when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish because of her joy that a child is born into this world. So with you, now is your time of grief, but I will see you again and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy. In that day, you will no longer ask me anything. Very truly, I tell you, my Father will give you whatever you ask in my name. Until now, you have not asked for anything in my name. Ask and you will receive, and your joy will be complete. Though I have been speaking figuratively, a time is coming when I will no longer use this kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. In that day, you will ask my name. You will ask in my name. I am not saying that I will ask the Father on your behalf. No, the Father himself loves you because you have loved me and have believed that I came from God. I came from the Father and entered the world, and now I'm leaving the world and going back to the Father. Then Jesus' disciples said, Now you are speaking clearly and without figurative of speech. Now we can see that you know all things and that you do not even need to have anyone ask you questions. This makes us believe that you came from God. Do you now believe? Jesus replied, a time is coming, and in fact has come, when you will be scattered, each to your own home. You will leave me all alone, yet I am not alone, for my Father is with me. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And that's where we're going to stop. So he's speaking figuratively, and it confuses the disciples, and they need him to speak plainly. And this was an analogy of a woman giving birth, and the pain, the grief, and then the joy. And he was very specific about how they were going to feel and that he was going to be back. And in this passage here, he is really in contrasting the disciples and the world, how different they are. And because of that, it makes the disciples feel like they don't belong to this world. They're like misfits. They're like unique or unusual. And that he was trying to get them to see that the values of the world were different than the values he wanted his disciples to have. And isn't it unusual that here after all this time, he asks, do you now believe? Still trying to determine their belief. And he's worried that if they are not strong believers now, that when they are scattered, they won't have him there beside them, pushing their thinking and reminding them of who they are. When we don't have our cluster around us to support us, it makes us a little weaker. We have to be strong and steadfast on our own. And I believe this is what he was checking on. Do you now believe, like, have you got this? Because you're going to be scattered, and I'm depending on you. I'm depending on you. He was preparing them for times ahead, and he was telling them to take courage. Take courage. But he was telling them they would struggle. They would struggle ahead. And that he would be there, though maybe not physically, he would be there and they would not be alone. And letting them know they would not be abandoned. And that they would be able to find him, he would support them during this time of struggle. And he was guaranteeing that they would have it. And I guess in some ways, I took from this that if we're Christians, there's always going to be tension and there's always going to be struggles between believers and non-believers. That's the nature of being different. And can we do that struggle? Can we do that? Can we take that struggle and have courage and stand up for what is right? So that's one of the lessons that I took from this morning. And this relationship between the believer and God. And because before they approached God through a priest, they had to go through a priest. And now in this, Jesus is talking about a new relationship that's just straight from me to God, from me to God. Any believer can approach God. They don't have to go through a priest anymore. So this is a whole new relationship here. And he's trying to get them to understand that. But again, he's turning everything upside down. Right is left, front is back, up is down. It's totally different. And it's hard to grasp something totally different. To think about, you would no longer have to go through a priest to talk to God. That God was everywhere and you could talk to him whenever you wanted to. That was like freedom, total freedom of understanding that God is everywhere and you don't have to go through a person to get there. Let's look and see what prayer concerns are here. Prayers for Scott Dorsett. Lord, in your mercy, breathe your breath of life into Scott Dorsett. Give his lungs the capacity they need to be strong, to come off the ventilator, Lord. Give him this courage and strength that he needs and breathe your breath of life into him. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Hear our prayers. Yes, isn't that something? Will Willimon refers to today's disciples as resident aliens. I believe he's at Duke now teaching, Will Willimon. Yeah, he's written a lot of books. But we're misfits. We are, and if we're not, if you can't tell us apart from everybody else, then I wonder if we can call ourselves disciples. And that's something. I hadn't thought about it like that. Resident aliens. God does not want us to belong to this world. Lord, in your mercy, we want to raise up Pittman, Lord. Bobby Jean lost her husband, Pittman. We want to raise up Bobby Jean in her grief and her loss. Provide her comfort, provide her support, and let her feel your love and presence. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Hear our prayers. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, thank you, Rhonda. I'll have to look that up. He has a book. Will Willimon wrote, Resident Aliens. Resident Aliens. Good morning, Betty. I'm so glad you are here today. We did miss you yesterday. I wasn't sure if you were there and just not signed on, but I'm glad to see you today. And prayers for you, Betty. Praying for you. Praying for you. Thank you for letting me know you're here. I'm so proud of you being able to type that in the chat box. Today, as we think about gratitude, we are grateful for an opportunity to share the message, to be misfits. Maybe we should have a sign that says, I am a disciple, I am a misfit. Wouldn't that be something? That we have the opportunity to share our faith with others. And if that makes us a little uncomfortable, I believe that's part of the struggle that God's calling us to, is to struggle, and that we may very well be a misfit. And that's okay. That's okay. If the world looks out and can't see the difference, then I don't think we're doing our job. I don't think we're doing what God has called us to. He needs to see us as misfits, that we are a little different from the others around us. I don't know what the mark would be, but I would like to think it's a mark of love, that we have love on our forehead and gratitude on our chest. But anyway, this is something that, by showing love to others and gratitude, I believe it is what separates us from the others. And this section was about being misfits. It was about knowing that we would have struggle, but that Jesus is always with us and he will not abandon us. He will not abandon us during the hard times when we want to cling to the pole, and in the good times, even in the good times, cling to him. Allow him to support you and help you to be a misfit, a resident alien, as Will Willimon calls it. That we will have the courage not to just blend in with everyone around us, that we will have the courage for others to see that we are different, and that they want that. They want what we have. That would be great, wouldn't it? For other people to say, I want some of what Loney's got. I want some of what Rhonda Gillum's got. I want what Alan and Jean Wilkie have. I want what Allison Aiken has. I want what Linda Newman has. I want what Lorraine Miller has. I want what Nancy Reese has. Nancy, I'm so glad. I missed you on my strip down this morning. I am so glad you are here. I want to lift you up in prayer, Nancy. Lord, in your mercy, we're lifting up Nancy Reese as she battles breast cancer. Lord, allow all the doctors and the surgeons to be skillful with her when she has her surgery. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Hear our prayers. Nancy, we're lifting you up We want to make sure that you feel God's love and that we love you and that we are there with you when you have your procedure, your surgery done, and that they will get all of the cancer out and you will be rid of it. We're going to keep praying for you every morning, Nancy, every morning. Yeah. So will God be able to look down and smile and say, there's my disciple, Rhonda. I see her. There's my disciple, Alan and Jean Wilkie. I see them. I see Loney. Is he going to be able to look down and smile and see that we stand out, that we are not blended in where no one can find us, where no one knows we're there? So that is my gratitude, is that we can be grateful misfits. That is something to be grateful for, and to know that we have God with us, always with us, to cling to in times of good or in times of sadness and struggle. But that we will struggle. We're not guaranteed anything. We will struggle, but we will struggle differently than those who do not know Christ. We will struggle differently. Thank you for the opportunity. I am grateful to be here this morning. I look forward every morning to this time with you, every morning, to reading my devotion, studying, and sharing it with you. I'm most grateful. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. This week has flown by. Tomorrow Friday at 8:30, I will see you. And I want you to have a blessed day. And remember to be a misfit today and be grateful for it, to be a resident alien. I love you all. I will see you in the morning at 8:30. Bye. Bye.